Hello, fiends. Before we begin this week, I'd like to read you a poem, as I so often do. This time, though, it's not just to set a mood. The poem is called The New Colossus, and it's by Emma Lazarus. Quote, "Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." End quote. A bronze casting of that poem resides inside the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty. Some of you probably know that already. She is the mighty woman, the mother of exiles, who offers a chance at a better life for everyone who seeks as much on her shores. That is who America is supposed to be. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Right now, in America, that statement has been lost, but not forgotten. We, here at We Would Be Dead, do not agree with those who would seek to change what America stands for. We are horrified by the violence and terror that has been inflicted upon Minnesota and an increasing number of United States cities and states. But we are proud of the growing resistance. We are proud of those who love their neighbors and have come together to keep them safe. We stand with you. We join you in doing the bravest and most frightening thing that anyone in this situation can possibly do. We hope. But for those who would like to do more than that, please visit standwithminnesota.com. There are lots of organizations who are gladly accepting donations and providing aid. You can find the link in our show notes. Or if you're looking for a broader reach, you can donate to the American Civil Liberties Union. The link to their chapter supporting the rights of immigrants will also be provided in our show notes this week. And with that, we will return to our regularly scheduled programming. I'm Holly.
I'm Leslie.
And We Would Be Dead. Hey, Leslie.
Hey, Holly.
Hey, Beans. We have fought our way back from the polar vortex.
Oh, boy.
For the time being.
Yes.
My property is pretty much still a skating rink.
Ours, too?
It is wild.
Yeah.
It was probably, today we got a little bit of melt, but it was probably a good 4 to 5 inches of just solid snow ice that I was walking on top of.
Me too. So funny. Just dragging our trash cans across it.
You could just push it and it would just slide all the way.
Right down.
There's people that were ice skating on the beach in Wildwood.
I saw.
That was so pretty.
So cool.
I kind of wanted to go, but I was like, I feel like I'll fall down.
And that's so abnormal for us because it does melt pretty fast.
Yeah, it's salty down here.
Yeah.
And
so
it's
this
warmer.
was one of the longest times we've had.
Yeah.
Snow and ice.
And it was, the thing is that down here, I mean, I don't know where you guys are in the world, all over the place, I think. But we got a bunch of snow, probably 8 inches of snow. And then it rained for an hour and then it got to be 13 degrees. So everything is a giant ice cube.
Right. Right.
For now, I do have 3 parking spots again, so we'll take it. But Leslie couldn't park at my house. It didn't, there was no going anywhere.
I had ice skates. I would have gone.
So you couldn't have put your car anywhere. That was the problem because we dug out just enough spots to get the cars out. And then the rain slushed everything in.
Yeah.
And then they plowed our whole property in.
Yeah.
So there's a wall of ice. It's like a Game of Thrones situation out there.
Nice.
Yeah, really, really fun. Anyway, we're back now. So welcome back to our series on the true stories and probably not true conspiracy theories that inspired the hit Netflix series Stranger Things. Last week, we discussed the Montauk Project, the Philadelphia Experiment, Camp Hero, the Montauk Monster, and Russia's real-life 11, Nina Kulagina. If you're curious about those topics and picked up this series right here, right now, you should definitely go back and listen to last week's episode. While the information discussed last week is not necessary for you to understand the topic we covered this week, we may refer back to it occasionally, and we won't be doing any other recaps. So go ahead and pause, and we'll be right here when you're done. Welcome back.
Hello.
Hi. Once again, please be advised that you do not need to have seen Stranger Things, the series, the Broadway show, or anything in between to understand or appreciate anything we're going to discuss at all. Our content will not be plot-driven. We just really love a theme.
Sure.
Right? And this one is a doozy. There's so many stories behind it, and I just kind of didn't realize that until I poked a little deeper. And if you are a fan, you're in for an extra good time.
Yeah.
And you will win all of the Stranger Things trivia. So, all right. This week, we will be diving headfirst into the world of government-sponsored psychic exploration. It's a wild one. While I'd love to believe that the things we're covering this week just aren't true at all, or like somebody just made them up, and I could just toss them back into the pile of conspiracy theories that is pretty deep at this point, I can't. This stuff really happened, and the government paid handsomely for it.
Yeah.
It is some of the craziest nonsense I have ever heard of or encountered in my life, and I can't believe we paid these people as much as we did. But I'm sure I don't have to explain why all this talk of government secrets is a little stressful as an American right now.
No.
It's not like I can take a break and scroll around in a sea of constant and unrelenting good news. When's that going to happen? This research definitely left me laughing, though, but then immediately I'd feel a little uneasy. I'd be like, that's funny. Oh, God. Exactly. And when I feel uneasy, you can see it all over my face.
Sure can.
My skin is dull. My under eye circles are very dark and deep. Just a mess.
Yeah. You need like some Aquaphor or something.
I do. How are you faring, Leslie?
I'm okay. I am.
You're perfect.
Applying Aquaphor to my face.
I can't put Aquaphor on my face. It'd be too sticky. Everything would, my hair would like stick in it and stuff. That would be a nightmare.
I'm so dry.
I use a different like cream that doesn't stay greasy like that.
Yeah.
I can't. It would be a sensory nightmare for me.
No, mine feels good. Do I look greasy?
No.
Hey.
Not at all. Oh, you're killing it. There you go. I use the Nivea, like thick cream in the jar. Anyway, now you guys know our skin secrets. But I've tried everything, even my Nivea in a jar, that I can think of to bring a little color back into my cheeks, but nothing seems to work.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm all out of options.
Oh, no.
I've tried one.
Clearly.
God. Oh, unless, well, don't tell anyone, but I have heard whispers of a super secret ingredient as of late that may be able to cure all our problems at the same time.
Okay.
Which is really what we all want.
Sure.
I've heard that all we need are just a few precious drops of...
This is what's in my Aquaphor. Validation, a hill worth dying on.
Powerful, not greasy. Well done. And best of all, our friends can give it to us totally free of charge. Unlike Aquaphor, which you do have to buy.
Yeah. Like how? Because I'm paying not a lot.
But how? You must be asking yourself.
Yeah, I'd like it for free.
I know. I would too. Well, I will tell you, not about the Aquaphor, about the validation.
Thank you.
Simply head on over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star rating and or a friendly review. It really is the only way to move this podcast forward. Ratings and reviews equal attention, attention equals support, and support equals more and better content for all of you.
It's exciting.
Somebody out in the internet world got really mad at me for refusing to tell a story I couldn't confirm. So we may have some reviews that we have to counteract.
We'll see.
I don't know. I haven't read I don't really read them much because I have too much anxiety about it. But I was like, oh, this person's going to leave us like a very nasty review. But ethically, I did the right thing.
You sure did.
Yeah, it was a little scary. But if you just can't wait for more We Would Be Dead in your life, don't worry. You don't have to. You can support us over on Patreon. There, for just a few dollars a month, you will gain access to our entire catalog of 30-minute horror movies, our special minisodes, our weekly after show, Host Mortem, which is available in both video and audio formats. Maybe you want to see our faces. Maybe you don't. Both are okay. But you should look at our faces.
They're so hot.
How are you going to know whether they're greasy and sad or actually just really nice unless you look? You can't tell. I'm
you
just
don't
saying.
know.
Yeah.
You should see how well this validation is working.
Mm-hmm, especially under that light over by your desk.
Yes. Looks so
We always look
great.
phenomenal.
We look so good at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Last week was the winner. We were both like, uh-oh.
Wow.
But if you're a patron, you'll also get a special gift in the mail from us, some giveaways, some merch deals, and on-air toast dedicated just to you and more.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping we get something live back together for at least St. Patrick's Day. That's our designated holiday.
I know.
Why? We don't know, but we like it.
We love it.
Well, keep your eyes open. We also have more exclusive content in the works for you, our beloved patrons. We were iced out of it, but we're coming back now. I feel like this series will also have a couple offshoots because there's just so much to talk about. So if I do leave you wanting more, I suggest joining our Patreon. And if our patrons have anything they'd like to hear or see or, I don't know, learn about, please never hesitate to let us know. In all honesty, we are here thanks to our patrons, so come on over and be part of the We Would Be Dead family.
It's cozy.
It's very cozy. And if all of that is a little too much for you, you can simply follow us on social media. We are at Would Be Dead Pod anywhere and everywhere you get your content. You can like our posts, share our posts, like and share our posts.
Do it.
Please do both. Engagement is priceless. You can leave us a comment, post about your favorite episode, let us know when you're listening, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell that nice person who offers to read your tarot cards at every party because they say they're really, really good at it. I don't think they live here, but they're nice, so we don't really complain. What's their name?
John Radicasa and my Aunt Lynn.
Sometimes John is here. He just hasn't been here in a long time.
Sometimes, yeah.
We missed you, John. Come back. St. Patrick's Day is coming.
Yeah.
Come be with us on our designated holidays. I know. Well, if you're a patron, maybe you'll see him. Or you just join our live. We'll see.
Yeah.
Anyway, tell your friends and John and your Aunt Lynn, and then they can become fiends and we can all hang out together.
That's right.
Yes. I think that's all I have in the way of news this week. Leslie, do you have anything to add before we begin?
Well, Holly, yesterday I couldn't think of anything. So I still have nothing.
Got me this time.
Yeah, I got myself.
All right, then. On with the show. This week, we will be continuing our discussion of Operation Stargate, which I think I did introduce a little bit last time. I didn't think it was a huge thing, and then surprise, it was!
Always.
Yeah, I know I said this week would be MK Ultra. I will give it to you next week. I promise. But
we'll
this
give
was...
it to you next week.
Yes, we will. In a nice, fun way, full of information. Nothing scary or gross. Anyway, I found out this was really crazy and fun to talk about, so I just wanted to give it the room to breathe this week, and we'll move on to MK Ultra next time. Unless you guys are super tired of hearing about conspiracy theories, and then I don't know.
I don't know what to tell you.
Just power through it, I guess. Okay. I did also, though, add one more wild conspiracy theory at the end of this one as a little bonus. Yeah, but you'll have to wait to find out what that is. And it's super unfounded. We're just going to talk about it, but it's kind of fun.
Is it that rabbits lay eggs?
No.
Okay.
No, we're not at Easter yet.
All right.
Okay. It's leprechaun lessons. Get that in your soul. Right. And Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I don't think I have a Valentine one. Oh my God. I'm going to have to think of something, you guys.
I think we made a list last year.
We did, but next is supposed to be on K Ultra. We might have to push back so we can give you guys some Valentine content.
We'll see. No.
Oh my.
What will we do?
I don't know. There's so many options. You guys will have to wait and see. So last week we left off with the story of Russia's real life 11, Nina Kulagina, how to pronounce her last name.
Kulagina.
That's what I thought, but then I don't know. Who knows?
That was just me. That was just my problem.
Kulagina, which was even better.
because it was like a Julia Gulia thing, but I think it's collagen.
I think so. We'll see. I don't know. Did she really have telepathic powers?
Yes.
Was she simply a magnificent magician?
Yes.
Both. Were Russian scientists really not able to figure that all out?
Yes.
We'll never know. But what we do know, however, is that the United States hates to be late to a trend.
Yes.
So much. This bothered the shit out of them.
Of course.
We really have a strong need also to be first at everything. We just got to get in there first. So, of course, as soon as Nina broke the scene, we were working on our own psychic soldiers. And they were not as magnificent magicians. I mean, there's some people who were pretty good out there, but not all of them. Some of them weren't even magnificent liars. But You know what? They were there. So we'll get this out of the way. First, last week, we discussed the fictional Montauk Project and how Preston Nichols claimed that the United States government wanted to train, or rather force, vulnerable people, including children, into having psychic abilities. His claims were, of course, insane and riddled with Spider-Man-style theories involving radio waves and other dimensions. But if Preston Nichols used any real United States history as a jumping-off point, which would have been hard considering the timeline here, but we're just going to go with it, he would have been referring to the Stargate project.
Okay.
I know that sounds like a weird Star Trek ripoff, like the generic version of it or something.
Well, there is a Stargate.
There you go. They really weren't doing themselves any favors with the name. We don't talk about stars or gates. They just like it. There's 7 other names for this too, and they change it a bunch of times throughout the process. I cut them out and just really stuck with the one so it wasn't confusing. But if you want to look them up, you can. The Stargate project's work primarily involved something called remote viewing, which is the purported ability to psychically see events, sites, or information from a great distance. So I could close my eyes in a dark room and see what's going on in Canada right now. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yes.
For the Stranger Things folks, it's like how Eleven has to go into sensory deprivation where she meditates herself into a liminal space that allows her to walk into the consciousness and memories of others. Except this isn't as much memories as it's just events and places. And I'm not kidding. This is what they really thought that they were going to do. And some of it does look a lot like the Stranger Things stuff. This week, we're going to tackle the psychic stuff. I'm sure you'll be able to recognize bits and pieces that were used as inspiration as we go along. But officially, quote, the Stargate project was a, brace yourself, $20 million research program sponsored by the United States government that attempted to determine potential military applications of psychic phenomena. $20 million.
I mean, I've heard them putting money into other programs that are billions of dollars. So I feel like this is nothing. And it gave some people jobs.
This is also the 70s. We didn't even know what $1 billion looked like back then.
Yeah.
$20 million was you know what? I bet you could find out how much $20 million in 1975 is in today's money. I bet it's crazy. Because inflation is wild. Maybe we'll hit $1 billion. I don't think so, though.
It would be 167 to 170 million today.
$1 million. Yep.
Yeah.
That is a staggering sum of money, I must say. Especially for something that's very small. This was 22 people and 6 scientists. It's not a big project.
Okay, well, they got paid.
It's not a lot of equipment either. It's picture cards and a room.
Okay.
Yeah, so they had quite a bit of funds. Mainly the psychic phenomena they're referring to meant remote viewing, which was a term coined so that the military didn't have to use the word clairvoyance. They didn't need to use a psychic word on their very important science documents because that would look crazy.
For sure.
Right? And they wanted to distinguish themselves. They're like, this isn't that. It's not being clairvoyant. It's different. So, yeah, remote viewing. This program ran from 1975 to 1995. That's way too long.
Well, that's why it was so much money.
and utilized a secret U.S. Army unit established at Fort Meade, Maryland by the Defense Intelligence Agency and the Stanford Research Institute. The involvement of the Stanford Research Institute, usually referred to as the SRI, is interesting because they are responsible for an incredibly wide range of scientific innovations, from self-cleaning ovens and robot-assisted surgery to everyone's favorite robot assistant, Siri. They selected the locations for Disneyland and the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. I'm not going to talk about that right now. And developed inkjet printing and LCD technology. SRI worked on cutting-edge cancer treatments as well as countless other advances in medicine and technology, and they also did this.
Nice.
It's weird that they did this, to me at least. And also, please do not confuse SRI with the Stanford University program that did the Stanford Prison Experiment. It is different programs and different people. So if you're sitting there thinking, there's no way the United States military ever employed at its peak 22 psychics, both military trained and civilian, in high-end salary positions to locate missing planes, double agents, missiles, and bombs, well, you would be wrong. I sure do love knowing where my parents' tax dollars went. So how did we get there? Because it's quite a reach. In 1970, the United States intelligence sources believed that the Soviet Union was spending 60 million rubles annually on psychotronic research. And rubles were something that I was just kind of like threw out when I was reading this. And then I thought, wait a minute, like I don't know what the relationship in 1970 was from rubles to dollars. So Lizzie, do you know how much 60 million 1970 rubles was in American dollars today?
Yes, it was 70 to 80 million dollars.
Oh boy.
So at that time, the Soviet Russian rubles were like you got like a better, what is that, better coin for the dollar.
I guess, yeah.
Not now. Now, today, 60 million rubles, Russian rubles, would be equivalent to like under $100,000.
Oh, wow.
In American.
That's quite a drop in exchange. Yeah. I mean, like it's less country, but still crazy. Anyway, lots of money, right? And we're like, well, we have to compete, but we only have 20 million. Oh, well. In response to claims that the Soviet program had produced results, the CIA initiated funding for its own program because, yes, this is all a pissing contest. Remote viewing research began in 1972 at the Stanford Research Institute. Still weird to me. Proponents of the research said that a minimum accuracy rate of 65% required by the clients was often exceeded in their later experiments. So like, this shit works most of the time. Now, these proponents were men named Russell Targ and Harold Pothoff, two electrical engineers who had previously worked on lasers. Harold Pothoff, I don't know, had a PhD in electrical engineering, and he was also a top-level Scientologist. He was really into Scientology, and he if you're in the top level, you gave them a lot of money.
Right.
Which he did. And that explains to me an awful lot. Scientology is very heavily based in the realm of science fiction and aliens and psychicness and achieving this. So it doesn't really feel like a stretch to me that this scientist also had this other set of beliefs.
That makes sense.
His cohort, Russell Targ, spent his childhood in his father's Chicago bookstore. And this bookstore had lots and lots of titles that were like paranormal books. And he would just kind of like cordon himself off in that section and just read all of the spooky alien sci-fi books. Russell had a bachelor's degree and a couple years of grad school for which he received no extra degree. But he sure did believe in stuff. The military didn't really vet their psychic laser guys back then, I guess, because you have like one PhD and then the other one went to school.
Right.
Neither of them went to school for anything that they are doing in this program. There are no like technical space lasers. Right. This is all about like the powers of the mind. They do not have degrees in that. I can't stress it enough.
Right. That makes sense.
Does it?
I mean, is there degrees in that at that time?
I guess not. Though I would think the closest you could get would be psychology in some way, because at least it's dealing with your mind. Not lasers.
I feel like that would taint you.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Anywho, Targ and Puthoff began testing psychics for SRI in 1972. So they kind of went out and like scouted people. Like, does anybody think that they have psychic powers? Tell us. And then they would talk to them and be like, you seem real. You seem fake. That's their very technical like vetting system. Great. And their test subjects included a man named Uri Geller. And that's the guy who read minds and bent spoons on late night TV. He was on Johnny Carson a lot.
Nice.
So I take it back when I said before that we didn't have gifted magicians. He actually is a very gifted magician. In fact, a lot of the people that Targ and Puthoff recruited were gifted con artists. Something you'd never see if you didn't want to.
Sure.
You just think they were doing a great job, right? Now, it takes a lot to actually find the breakdown of the experiments they did. For what I don't think the military really wants you to know.
Yeah.
But here's, in layman's terms, how one would go. So a remote viewing experiment starts with a target, which is usually a photograph of a place. So somebody will be sitting, the people will be sitting in two separate rooms. Your psychic, your remote driver will be in a room that is quiet and kind of dark, and they will just be by themselves, the table and chair, and their pen and blank paper. And the person in the other room will have a deck of like postcards almost with images of locations on it, right? And they will shuffle the deck around and pick out an image. The person who is your remote viewer doesn't know which one it is. They're not even supposed to know the options, okay? Right. So they write down the number on the top of the page and then begin. So I guess they're numbered and they're like, it's this one. And then the remote viewer just starts writing down quick impressions, not guesses, mind you, impressions. And instead of naming objects, they just are instructed to focus on basic sensations. So the person who's looking at the picture in the other room, I think they're connected via like intercom or something, will tell them like, what shapes do you see? What texture is it? Is it hot there? Is it cold? Is it sunny? Is there grass? Like they'll like ask them, or is there movement? Do you hear things? So instead of writing like they see a bridge, they might say, I see something long and tall and metal. So it's like coming to them. I feel wind. There's water nearby. Then they also use their pen and paper to make up like simple sketches of lines or curves or shapes that don't fully form a picture. They're just like the essence of the object, right? And if the viewer starts guessing what the object actually is, they have to go back and describe how it feels. So they really want to get them in this location, feeling like they are there, right? After about 20 or 30 minutes, they end the session and the notes are saved exactly as they are written. Later, a judge, so one of these scientist laser guys, will compare the viewer's notes to several possible targets, including the real ones. The judge does not know which target is correct. This is all supposed to be super like double-blind anonymous. It never was, but you know, whatever. That's what it's supposed to be. If the real target matches the notes better than the others, more often than like would be chance, it's considered the successful, right? They did it. The problem here is that it's really, really easy to manipulate this kind of data, especially when you have the person looking at the objects kind of feeding you prompts. Even if you're not thinking you're guiding a person into doing something, you probably are. So if I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my glasses, I want you to guess glasses. I'd be like, oh, do you think it's like a hard material? Is it see-through or opaque? Is it something you can wear? Does it feel cold? Like that's going to slowly guide you into what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they were like, no way, totally anonymous. The psychics are given lots of prompts and guidance, like I said. And in Uri Geller's case, he was able to see through into the other room through a tiny hole in the wall. Yeah, it's also very similar, like this whole event is similar to the way like television mediums achieve miracles through crowd work.
Right.
So you'll see like, what's his name? Jonathan Edwards, is that the guy that did?
That sounds right.
I don't know if I'm right or not. He had the big show where he would like find people's dead relatives and talk to them.
Yeah.
Right. So, a psychic in this case will go like, okay, did anyone in the crowd lose someone recently? Yes. I see somebody who's maybe older, and then the audience will be like, oh, you'll hear like reactions from them, right? You'll be like, yes, that's right, older. It's a grandparent. And as they react, if nobody reacts to that, he'll be like, oh, no, an uncle. So you can absolutely guide by reaction until you find someone who like, you're like, yes, I knew it all along. You know what I mean? Then you get to like, their name starts with a B, no reaction. No, a D, reaction. Eventually they hit pay dirt and it looks like they can just see into the past or whatever. And those extraneous facts do lead to someone connecting a real life experience, even if it is by the thinnest of threads imaginable. And they call it out to the crowd. Now,
wait, sorry. Is it Darren Brown?
Is it? I don't know.
John. Well, what did you say?
Is it Jonathan Edwards? Isn't that the
Jonathan Edwards?
Who is he? I got it wrong.
He came up as like somebody from the 1700s.
Oh,
an American. I think he was a pastor.
Not who I'm thinking of then.
And philosopher, but
definitely
this
not
other
that
guy, Darren. I don't know. People are yelling at us right now. Probably.
No, it's gonna kill me. The name of the show was like, look. Oh God, hold on.
Where did I just put that? He was on a well, the show was Darren Brown Miracle, but that was 2016.
No, I don't think it was Miracle. It was like, it was 2 words.
But he was a faith healer, right?
No.
Oh, well, then I am not looking up the right person, probably.
Let me see. No, I don't. Okay, so the Long Island Medium is like kind of an example of it. But there's another one. I forget what the name of it is. It's killing me.
When was this from?
Oh, God, like a long time ago, I think. This is gonna kill me. Crossing Over? Is that the name of it?
There was, or James Van Praagh. That was early.
John Edward. Okay, I said Jonathan Edwards. Sorry. Okay. I wasn't that wrong.
No, you were.
Crossing Over with John Edwards. So that's the guy that would be like in the big like auditorium room with people all around and be like, whose relative has died somewhere cold recently? And their name begins with an L. You know?
Yeah.
That is very similar in my mind to like these experiments. It just feels like you can guide someone into something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, that was a good tangent. According to popular science writer Martin Gardner, Targ and Puthoff, quote, imagined they could do research in parapsychology, but instead dealt with, quote, psychics who were cleverer than they were.
Ooh.
Yeah. Basically, these people like wanted to be psychics. They were getting paid to just kind of like sit in a room and imagine stuff. And they could tell people they essentially had superpowers. So they're like, yeah, we're going to make this work. But it took a long time for the government to figure that out. A journalist right away, the government, 20 years. And while this all seems weird and harmless enough, these guys were not, as sinister as the Stranger Things scientists or the Montauk Project's fictional world. It did lead to some real weird stuff. If this whole thing started and ended with those 2 idiots and their strange isolated lab experiments, we wouldn't have much to talk about anymore, but it didn't. Along the way, there were other military scientists who picked up the concept of remote viewing and ran with it. They ran real hard. They ran real hard in place, but they still ran.
Mm.
And they all just happened to be interviewed years later by one person at the same time. That's where we get to the point where I didn't know that happened. In doing this week's research, and this is shameful, I stumbled upon a book and subsequent film called The Men Who Stare at Goats.
Oh my God.
I'm so ashamed to admit that I was unfamiliar with this. I was unfamiliar with The Men Who Stare at Goats, and it is quite the rabbit hole. The movie is fictional, so it's like a dramatization. The names are changed, but the book is categorized as nonfiction, and it is based on very real interviews.
Right. Yeah, the movie is like an exaggeration of the book.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So here's the easiest of Wikipedia rundowns on this. Quote, The Men Who Stare at Goats, 2004, is a nonfiction book by John Ronson concerning the United States Army's exploration of New Age concepts and the potential military applications of the paranormal. The title refers to attempts to kill goats by staring at them and stopping their hearts. The book is a companion to a 3-part TV series broadcast in Britain on Channel 4 called Crazy Rulers of the World from 2004. And the Stargate project, which we are discussing now, was proven to be an integral part of this book, even though they do not call it out by name. Didn't know. didn't know. And there is a plethora of information. Now, in writing The Men Who Stare at Goats, author John Ronson spoke directly to multiple decorated United States military officials who gave him firsthand accounts of their research, accounts that can and have been backed by the Stargate Project's documents, all of which were declassified in the late 90s and published online in 2017, which means we can just go read them. They are densely nonsensical. But if you want to give them a try, go ahead. I will never get those hours of my life back. But I will put a link in the show notes.
I bet you some of our listeners have read these.
Possible. It's definitely possible. And they are written so strangely. Now, at this point in our long-ass podcasting career, I have read a fair amount of declassified military documents and crime scene stuff. I've seen a lot of professional things like that. These are not written like the other ones.
Oh, no?
No, they're written kind of like a fanciful story. They read like a high school essay about exploring matters of the mind. They are not as clinical as, say, last week when I read the Camp Hero documents, which is just 200 pages of statistics. Dry reports, clearly written by scientists. These are in the 1800s, we began to concern ourselves with the mind.
Gotcha.
That is a declassified military document.
Right.
I think they were we can't just say what we did.
Yeah. We got to make it interesting.
We got to make it look grand.
Sure.
Here's the thing. It can be confirmed that part of that book is about Project Stargate. It also talks about MK Ultra, which we will actually cover next week, I promise you. It also covers the Human Potential Movement, which is Jim Channon's New Age-inspired 1st Battalion Field Manual. Was connected to that. They also talk about subliminal messaging, and all of these things you can research them. They're there. We will talk about most of them. But the goats, I cannot find a single concrete source that will confirm or deny its authenticity. It's very vague. The one guy who claimed to achieve this horrible feat, and only one person said he did it, and nobody really saw it.
George Clooney.
Exactly. No. He is a martial arts expert, and the military does not claim him whatsoever. Incidentally, his name was Guy Savelli, which is a great name. And he claimed to have killed a goat and a hamster, terrible, using only his mind at a Fort Bragg facility, though he later refused to continue because karma.
Sure.
Literally karma.
Yeah, the guilt.
Yeah, you can't be doing that to goats. And if you read any kind of detailed accounts, which again, I cannot substantiate whatsoever, they say that it was in this secret goat lab in Fort Bragg where they had goats that they had cut their vocal folds so they couldn't scream. And it's awful. But again, I can't tell you if that happened. Nobody can. So while Guy Savelli did claim success, the journalist, Mr. Ronson, who wrote The Men Who Stare at Goats, noted that in one instance, it actually was a different goat that died than the one Guy Savelli was actually looking at. So he was looking at that goat and really trying to kill it, but then one off to the right just dropped dead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that can happen sometimes,
Especially in a lab full of germ-infested goats with open sores.
Sure.
Or goats that faint. Because, by the way, goats faint. If they get nervous because you're staring at them with your predator's gaze, your forward-facing eyes, and they're prey eyes on the side of their head, they're gonna freak out and fall over. They're not gonna die, but they will get stiff and just kind of roll off to the side. Leslie, please remind me to post a video of fainting goats.
I know, it's so funny.
They're so good. But I'm just saying, it could have been that too.
Sure.
Anyway.
Or he could have done it.
I guess he could have. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe he was
I know you
killing goats. Beyond his psychic claims, he was a trained martial artist and a research subject at institutions like Duke University.
Yeah. Okay. So he has control of his mind, his faculties.
But he had to stop because karma.
Well, of course, because he's a martial artist. He understands balance. Yeah.
He ultimately did pass away from COVID-19 on December 1st, 2020.
Well, there you go.
I am not sure if he fell in with the legion of people in this week's episode that did not believe in medicine, but some of them don't. So I don't know how or why COVID got him, but it did.
When did he die?
December 1st, 2020.
That's like pretty early on.
It starts in March 2020. So that's like...
I know, but like vaccine-wise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. It is.
So
yeah.
it's like...
So...
Wouldn't have mattered then.
Unless you were somebody who were like, I don't wear a mask and I'm going to lick everything. I have no idea.
Well, karma got him. He knew it was coming.
Or it didn't. I don't know. I'm just saying that is a presence that does exist in this story, so who the hell knows?
Yeah.
So Guy Savelli is also closely linked to the research in the First Earth Battalion techniques, which we're going to get to in a minute, which is a New Age approach to warfare. And he is a primary source for the stories about trying to kill animals with mental powers. And by primary source, he is the only source.
Yeah.
There is nobody else. Because we'll get to the First Earth Battalion guy in a few minutes. He does not want to kill anything ever. He's not a killing things guy. Anyway, so essentially, after just what I can distill from all of this, a handful of powerful men came to believe that they could develop super soldiers who could see anything anywhere in the world, walk through walls, turn invisible, bend things with their minds, travel through time, and yes, kill with a look.
All right.
Yep. Off those two guys that were like, maybe you can see things in another room. People were like, and I can be invisible. Like, there's a lot. Once again, these are real-life decorated military officials whose work has been recognized on a national level without incident, and one of them was inducted into the United States Military Intelligence Hall of Fame.
Nice.
For this stuff.
Okay.
That man was Albert Stubblebine. Such a good name. And he has a ton of credentials for acting like a total lunatic. But he didn't get there on his own. Some of these dudes were all about aliens and psychics, like right from the jump, and others had to be served the Kool-Aid before they could drink it. Albert Stubblebine, and others, as it turns out, were strongly influenced by a book I mentioned previously called the First Earth Battalion Field Manual, which was published first in 1979. It's essentially an instruction manual that lays out how a New Age military of super soldiers could be organized along New Age lines. Yeah. Now, it sounds ominous, but at first it's not. It was written by United States Army Lieutenant Colonel James B. Channon, sometimes called Jim. I like this guy. He's probably the only one I like. Jim believed that the Army could be the principal moral and ethical basis on which politics could harmonize in the name of Earth.
I feel that.
He is a lovely little hippie. He declared that the First Earth Battalion's primary allegiance was to the planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Jim envisioned that the First Earth Battalion, though it sounds quite violent, would organize itself informally. Uniforms without uniformity, structure without status, and unity powered by diversity. This is a quote, by the way. This is clearly his mission statement. And members would be multicultural, with each race contributing to a rainbow power. He also, so they're Care Bears. He also proposed as a guiding principle that members of the First Earth Battalion seek non-destructive methods of conflict resolution because their first loyalty is to the planet.
Right.
His concept was that of a new generation of warrior monks who utilize countercultural principles to better prevail in future conflicts with the nation's adversaries.
I love it. Do no harm.
Yeah, he's cool. I like this guy. I mean, there are some words that sound like war, but it is not really what he seemed like he wanted. But people who wanted to hear that were like, yes, soldiers, war, go.
And they just missed all the conflict resolution.
100%. They missed him being like, also, your first priority is to love everyone and the earth.
Well, the problem is that he's still talking to the male leaders.
100%. You are so right. If he was talking to just a bunch of women, they'd be like, yes.
Yes.
Oh my God, Jim.
God. Do you need another glass of wine? Let me fill that glass. Oh my God,
we
Jim.
should make flower necklaces.
Oh my God.
I love Jim. And all of that sounds perfectly sane and reasonable, right? Not at all wild and grandiose. Actually, it's pretty chill compared to other things we talk about. So how did Jim arrive at these strange ideas? I just like calling him Jim. Once you see pictures of him, you're like, yeah, that's Jim. We're not going formal. But clearly he had to go through a process to land at this like fanciful theory.
Yeah.
And he really did. First, Jim received a bachelor in fine arts, and an MA, so a master's, in behavioral communications from the University of Kentucky. He also held a Master of Military Arts and Sciences, a degree from the United States Army Command and General Staff College,
and a Master of Strategic Studies degree from the United States Army War College. He has a lot of degrees, and they are in like fine art and communication and also military science, which seems to kind of coalesce in everything that he believes. Then he took all of that wide knowledge and curiosity, which he must have had, and did 2 tours in Vietnam with the 173rd Airborne Brigade. After that, he moved to California and launched himself fully into the New Age movement. Frankly, I can understand why one might want to turn to crystals and meditation after seeing a lot of senseless violence and bloodshed. 2 tours in Vietnam in the, Airborne Brigade, that wasn't an easy situation.
No.
He saw some shit. And I'm sure he came back different than when he left. But it would seem that all of his education and experience got swirled together in that brain blender of his and began spilling out hybrid philosophies. Okay. Jim spent time between 1977 and 1979 with many of the people in California that are credited with starting the human potential movement, which I have mentioned twice now and will explain to the best of my abilities, which is another wiki roundup. I know I have done a few of these this episode, but that is only because they are the only succinct summaries.
Right.
Everything else is just novels.
Sure.
So trust me, you want this. Most websites that deal with these things, they do not believe in either brevity or accessible language. So, quote, the human potential movement formed around the concept of an extraordinary potential that its advocates believed to lie largely untapped in people. So we all have untapped potential abilities, which sounds like you could mean psychic abilities, but that is not what they meant at first. The movement takes as its premise the belief that the development of their human potential can contribute to a life of increased happiness, creativity, and fulfillment. And as a result, such people will be more likely to direct their actions within society towards assisting others to release their potential. Kind of nice.
Very nice.
Adherents believe that the collective effect of individuals cultivating their own potential will be positive change in society at large. End quote. So yeah, there is genuine psychology in there. There's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Aristotle, there's a bunch of other actual principles in there.
Still sounds culty.
It does sound culty. Their minds are, people are indeed more productive and better citizens when they are happy, their minds are properly stimulated, and their needs are met. That's just true. But that wasn't the takeaway for everyone. Like I said, the potential they meant was your potential to be grounded and fulfilled, happy, and a good citizen. But that was up for interpretation to some. Some people took that bit of positive philosophy to mean that humans had a whole portion of their brain that they have yet to unlock, and that portion contains psychic abilities and sometimes superpowers.
Yeah, I see how they got there.
Right. You know what we all think when we hear the word potential. Of course. In 1979, Jim wrote a 125-page operations manual for a proposed First Earth Battalion. Now, that was his first problem. That sounds violent. Battalion? That's like that's like war. It's his vocabulary from his military education mixing with his other education. But really what he was imagining was an army of fully potentialed soldiers. At a subsequent 1979 briefing at the Fort Knox Officers Club, Jim presented his concepts to, quote, commanders, who he claims immediately made him the first commander of the Earth Battalion. They were like, I love it, and you're the boss.
Oh, my God.
Okie dokie. How it ended up, this manual, ended up in the hands of high-ranking military officials that Jim himself had not necessarily met. Well, I imagine this happened a lot like the Philadelphia experiment papers kind of circulated, only this time it was actually published and easy to find. So, like one person reads it and then they're like, you got to read it. And everybody passed it around. And it was actually popular with soldiers that had spent, time in conflict zones, which for some would be like a nice relief. Like that's what he took it to mean, but for others it was just, So James also, after that, went on to do a lot of outwardly appearing credible stuff. After leaving the military, Jim continued to promote his concepts and worked as a, quote, organizational transformation consultant to such companies as AT&T, DuPont, and Whirlpool. In 1990, he was featured in Fortune magazine as the business world's first corporate shaman. And that just adds credibility, you know? But how this, like you just mentioned, how all of his philosophies don't end up in either a cult or a lot of bothering nobody malarkey is beyond me.
Yeah.
Like, those are the directions it should go in. But somehow...
I'm picturing Steve Martin in Baby Mama.
Where he's like, give me 10 seconds of eye contact.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very similar. Absolutely. Absolutely corporate shaman is peak imagery for that. 100%. But like the direction it actually goes in is weird to me. So it does get into the wrong hands at the wrong time. And then I guess the rest is history. And for our purposes, the hands in question belonged to Albert Stubblebine. Remember him?
Yes.
Albert Stubblebine became a proponent of psychic warfare and initiated a project within the United States Army Intelligence and Security Command, which he commanded from 1981 to 1984 to create a, quote, breed of super soldier who would have the ability to become invisible at will and walk through walls.
Nice.
He attempted to walk through walls himself.
Yeah.
But failed. As he
Lots of bruises.
Yeah. As he himself described in a 2004 interview. He talked about this. Now, these activities that I'm just mentioning feature prominently in The Men Who Stare at Goats. Like this guy who thinks he can walk through walls is like a pretty big character, apparently. And man, wouldn't you love to see him try, though? Like a decorated army general just trying to like smack it into walls.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I would have loved to have been like the lab assistant. And
he was like, I didn't get the right data. Can you try again?
Try again.
One more time. I didn't really...
We have 50 more trials to fit in today. Let's go.
Keep going. I believe in you.
Yeah.
One more time.
Let's break for lunch because we are getting $20 million in budget here. So we have some money.
And you look like you forgot what lunch means. So we're going to give you a minute to shake it off. Oh, God. And I bet he smacked into walls at the fullest speed, too. But he was trying hard. Now, Albert, who incidentally went by Bert or General Bert if you nasty, was a key sponsor of the Stargate project, because of course he was, at Fort Meade in Maryland. He was convinced of the reality of a wide variety of psychic phenomena. And he required that all of his battalion commanders, and notice he used the words battalion commanders because he read that book. He needed them all to know how to bend spoons with their mind like celebrity psychic Uri Geller.
Okay.
And he himself tried this too.
Sure.
Of course, but failed. In addition to trying to bend a spoon and walking directly into walls, he did try to levitate. That didn't work either. And he tried to disperse distant clouds with his mind.
Man, that sucks he couldn't levitate. I mean, like,
how impressive.
10-year-old girls at sleepovers can levitate.
We can do that. Get it together, light as a feather, stiff as a board, General Bert.
Maybe he just didn't have enough people.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Honestly. He was not. I don't know. But nobody did any of that stuff. They just had to sit around and try to do it, which is, I think, a lot of The Men Who Stare at Goats. Again, I haven't seen it, but I think a lot of it is them trying very hard to do that. Because really, that would have been their job. It would have been like, walk through a wall, bend the spoon. And they're just like, oh. $20 million.
Right.
And 20 years. We just did that over and over. Now, some of the people in his battalion were kind of convincing because, as I said before, like, kind of want to be good at it. And a crazy person in charge plus clever grifter subordinates is a perfect formula for a well-oiled trouble machine. Because you have some guy going, here's some crazy claims, and all those people going, if we say we can do his crazy claims, technically, we're the ones in power. Boy, I wonder where that happens. Weird. But despite his best wild-eyed intentions, things were not working out for General Bert super well. But fear not, failure will never dissuade an old-fashioned white man. After some controversy involving the experiments that he was doing with, people running into walls, Albert Stubblebine decided to retire early from the Army in 1984. He's like, you know what? I'm done.
He's probably quite injured at this point.
He can't see straight. No. I have the pictures of him. Honestly, his eyes are kind of crossed.
I would think so.
Good. But, he says he took early retirement, but it was not entirely his choice. In addition to alleged security violations from uncleared civilian psychics working in sensitive compartmented information facilities, so he's just letting civilians see Army intelligence documents, which is not a great idea. But subordinates who are con artists with a crazy guy, they're going to be like, yes, show me the documents.
Yeah.
Stubblebine also managed to offend the then U.S. Army Chief of Staff General John Adams Wickham Jr. because one time at a party, nobody was watching General Burt. I mean, his handlers must have walked off to get a glass of wine or something. And he offered to perform his spoon-bending miracle at the upcoming military gala.
Mm-hmm.
And Chief of Staff General John Adams Wickham Jr. was a devout Presbyterian and associated that kind of stuff with the devil.
Yeah, with witchcraft.
Yeah, he was
wizardry.
Like, satanic panic, here we go. And he was not amused, so bye-bye, Birdie. See you later.
He screwed it all up.
He was like, you can retire now with the devil. It was the 80s.
Right.
That everything was the devil. I'm so surprised any of these people made it out without being put in jail for witchcraft, which shows you how much old school empower white dudes are going to cover their eyes to each other and only see what they want to see in other people. Because you can put kids in jail for Satan things and, daycare owners, but your own general, who you are paying at that point $90,000 a year, which it was the mid 80s, that's a lot of money, is literally saying he can move things with his mind and walk through walls.
Mm-hmm. But also what's crazy is that he was being paid by the government to do this. And then that one guy was like, witchcraft, out of nowhere. There's a whole sector of people that are paying this man.
I don't think they paid much attention. Again, it seems like this is a big operation and it's not. It's 22 people and then a handful of officials. It's not.
But somebody had to have been approved.
I know.
Which wouldn't that have been the president?
I know. No, I don't know. It was just higher ups in the Army, I think. And I think once the project is greenlit and then they just have their budget and they're just doing it, nobody's really...
But wouldn't the president have to know what the government's doing? To a certain extent.
No, Leslie. No.
I just mean in a meeting.
No, and in fact, I know for a fact that they didn't because there are presidents that are interviewed about this shit. Jimmy Carter was like, I don't know. They told me psychics maybe could find a plane. I don't know. Maybe they can. Who am I to say?
Yeah,
he
but
had
that's
no idea.
PR. That's a PR thing.
No, this was an interview afterwards about this kind of stuff. He was like, I don't know what the hell they're doing.
I know. He was trained to say that.
I don't think that he was. I think this was a very isolated, and in fact, I know that it was. It was its own thing
Jimmy
off
Carter
in a corner.
Was listen, guys, we need to bend some spoons.
No fucking way.
We need to bend
Jimmy Carter was farming peanuts and building houses for the homeless. He was absolutely not talking to these whack jobs.
It's a good cover.
We will not speak ill of him.
He said, I don't like goats. I worked on farms. I don't like them.
No way. I will not stand by Jimmy Carter slander. Oh my God. Okay, so that's all we're going to say about him for now. We'll come back to General Burt. Do you want more government-funded whack jobs?
Sure.
Okay. We'll just touch on one more before we move on to the next incredibly insane thing our government used our tax dollars to fund. A lot of the first-hand information we have about Project Stargate came from a guy named Joseph McMoneagle. You'll see his name pop up in every single article you can find about this specific topic because he loves to talk. Joseph grew up surrounded by alcoholism, abuse, and poverty. As a child, he had visions at night when he got scared, and he believed that his psychic abilities protected him when he hitchhiked. That to me sounds like a really neat thing your brain does when it is traumatized, which is tells you a different story so that you can kind of dissociate and be okay. that part of Joseph's story, I'm not going to be mad at him for. It's fine that you thought that. You were in a bad situation. He then enlisted in the army in 1964 at the age of 18 to get away from the crazy family turmoil. So I think we can safely say that he was a vulnerable person, right? He's still alive. I just don't know if he's still vulnerable, but he was then.
Okay.
And he really, really believed in Project Stargate. You know, they found him because he was out there being like, I'm psychic, by the way. And they were like, we're looking for psychics. This is great. He believed and continues to believe in Project Stargate's mission. Like, he never skipped a beat. He is still out there fighting the good fight. He believes in its methods and its usefulness. He is also frequently interviewed. And one time, he vividly describes his technique for traveling out of his body to communist China to remotely view a trigger mechanism in a military nuclear weapons laboratory.
Oh, wow.
They always save the world, don't they?
Sure.
Preston Nichols met Jesus. So,
Yeah.
you know. This man that I just told you about earns the Legion of Merit Medal for his last 10 years of service, which included 5 years in the remote viewing program. He retired from the Army in 1984, but continued to work as a consultant at Stargate until 1993. So your parents paid his salary with their tax dollars.
Cool.
Yeah, they paid him, the two guys who liked magic, and the guy who believed he could walk through walls. What? In 1995, funding for Project Stargate was terminated, and the unit was decommissioned after the official finding that, quote, no discernible benefit had been established.
That sucks.
Yeah, I want us to remember that sentence because it does come back in other government experiments on people. So it's like, we did all this shit, but we found no discernible benefit.
I mean, that's what they have to do, though. That's why it's an experiment.
Girl, no. While the Stargate project was ultimately unsuccessful, there is one thing that it did reinforce, and that is the power of suggestion. The events I am laying out today seem cartoonishly unbelievable. None of us can imagine a world where an army of superhuman psychic soldiers is an idea worthy of $20 million of government funding, and yet it was. Now, when I talk about people who are susceptible in the story to the power of suggestion, I'm not talking about the participants in the studies, at least not exclusively. Every person we discussed today so far, the leaders and thinkers in this project, found themselves in unique circumstances where they were vulnerable to suggestion and they were immersed in pseudoscience and enticed by positive results, i.e., the people that they had to conduct these studies who were like, yeah, I'm psychic. Then they were given positions of power and their true believer statuses were solidified. That's not nothing. The experiment kind of worked on them, you know?
Right.
In fact, the power of suggestion is still used frequently today in science, politics, criminal justice, psychology, and advertising. Leslie, do you want to tell us a little bit about some modern mind-bendy things?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. I need a break.
Sure. Take a load off.
Thank you.
Drink your beer.
I'm gonna.
So, I'm going to talk about subliminal messaging and some modern mind control.
Which is absolutely like tied into this kind of stuff. Subliminal messaging is like so close to that, like picture it and be it. Like,
yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So when we hear the phrase subliminal messaging, we usually picture hidden commands flashing on a screen. So like buy this, obey, consume, slipping past conscious awareness and hijacking behavior.
Or like sounds and songs.
Yeah. That idea has been so deeply absorbed into pop culture that it almost feels like a settled science.
For sure.
Like,
100%.
Yeah. So the modern panic around subliminal messaging really begins in 1957 when a marketing researcher claimed movie theaters were flashing messages like eat popcorn and drink Coca-Cola so quickly audiences couldn't consciously see them. And that concession sales spiked as a result.
You don't have to tell me that. I already like those things.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just give me the little like, let's go out to the lobby. Give me
those guys, right? I'm like, okay, already done.
I don't need that. Sorry, continue.
But the problem is that there was no real experiment to any of this. There's no published data, no controlled study. And years later, the researcher admitted the claims were exaggerated and unsupported.
As is so often the case in these things.
Yeah. So in other words, the most famous example of subliminal messaging was essentially a hoax. But the fear stuck. Because we remember, I still think that that's like a thing. Like they like pop things in and they
and like The
splice them
Exorcist,
into the movies.
That's in The Exorcist. The
Right.
like quick like one frame images of the like satanic face.
Yeah.
Where they do that.
Mm-hmm. Also, you don't need to trick me into buying popcorn and snacks at the concession stand.
I got you.
Sometimes I'm spending money at the concession and I'm not even seeing a movie. So,
I mean, that is so real because Will used to like stop on the way home if we were going to do a movie night at home and just get a big movie theater popcorn and then we'd have it. And it was the best thing ever.
When I used to work like around the corner from a movie theater, I like wanted a snack one time and I was just like,
so smart.
Go get a small popcorn.
It's so good. We're a big popcorn household too.
And we
love popcorn.
I know. It's my favorite snack.
Same.
I always have one in my bag. So I like to just make it with real kernels.
I do too.
Right?
You know that. But make it in a pot with real kernels.
Yes. But we do usually have a box on hand. And so sometimes I take a bag with me. That way I can have it at work or just, I don't know. I'm at someone's house. I have a bag of popcorn.
We have bags too because like Violet likes to make them. Like my kids can make them themselves. And I generally insist on using the hot oil and the kernels myself. But the smell of popping popcorn, like the bags, makes me think of elementary school because the teachers always made it in the lounge. That was always the snack they brought.
Funny. All right. So while subliminal messaging doesn't work the way movies suggest, it also isn't complete nonsense. Decades of psychological research show that subliminal cues can have a very small short-term effect under very specific conditions.
Right. Yeah.
So, for example, if someone is already thirsty, a subliminal cue related to a drink might slightly increase the chance they chose one option over another. Certain concepts, when briefly primed below conscious awareness, can influence reaction time or momentary preference. But these effects are fragile, they don't last long, and they cannot override beliefs, values, or long-term intentions.
You're not going to be like, I'm allergic to Coke, but damn it, I need one.
Exactly.
It's not happening. Got it.
The force is too strong.
I just can't ignore it. I don't know why.
I must have those nuts.
You're like covered in a rash.
Like I would die. Yeah. Subliminal messages can't force you to act against your will. They don't turn people into mind-controlled puppets. At best, they work like a nudge. And only if you were already leaning in that direction.
I love popcorn and Coke.
Well, that's the thing. Like if I was sitting at work and I was just like, oh, like popcorn sounds really good. And then somebody was just like, you should go get a popcorn. Just do it. I'll be like, you're right. Okay.
Or you're like watching the Food Network and the next day you're like, I got to get noodles.
Yeah.
They look good.
Exactly.
But I like noodles anyway. I just want them.
Right. Or they're like making soft pretzels and you're just like, I'm going to go to Auntie Anne's.
I'm going to get a box of super pretzels.
Yeah. But that's because I wanted them anyway. So if subliminal messaging is so limited, why did it become such a cultural obsession? Because it emerged during the Cold War alongside psychological warfare,
there you go,
government secrecy, and growing anxiety about who was studying the human mind and why. It became less about what science could actually do and more about what people feared might be happening without their consent.
Sure.
So while subliminal messaging turned out to be mostly overhyped, modern influence techniques are far more effective without needing hidden messages at all.
Ooh.
So now we're jumping to today. So today, influence doesn't depend on slipping something past your awareness. It depends on knowing you. Modern persuasion works through data collection, behavioral tracking, and psychological profiling. Instead of one secret message aimed at everyone, there are millions of visible messages, each tailored to different fears, desires, identities, and emotional triggers. You might see one version of a message, someone else sees another. Nothing is hidden, but everything is personalized, which makes sense.
It's kind of scary, but also give me things just for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And sometimes it's great. That's why I'm literally wearing clothes right now because of things that were given just to
Sure, I definitely have purchased stuff that were served to me on my algorithm. However, mostly I'm very happy with them.
I am too.
It's stuff I like. I wanted the things.
I have so many new things on my wish list now that I'm just like, oh, I should actually write down these gift ideas because John isn't going to have these on his algorithm.
Of course.
He doesn't want all these crafting things.
Who doesn't want to craft?
And
I
all
love
my
crafting
fantasy novels. So the kind of influence So this kind of influence doesn't force behavior. It shapes the environment of choices. It highlights certain options. It reinforces certain narratives. And it does so in a way that makes people feel like they arrived at their conclusions entirely on their own. I do feel that way sometimes. The scariest thing about modern persuasion is that it doesn't need to be sneaky like subliminal messaging. It works in plain sight through repetition, relevance, and emotional precision.
Yikes.
Yeah.
It's like product placement too. I think that's like the bridge between algorithm and like subliminal messaging. But like when you watch American Idol and they all have Cokes.
Right.
They're like drinking their big Coke and you're like, I want a Coke. But that's like right there in front of your face. It's just sitting there. Or like we can go into, okay, I'll reference Stranger Things. How many freaking Eggos do you think they sold after that? After they put Eggos in the show.
I mean, I just went to Target today and they're still all over the boxes. And I thought about buying one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People like kind of were, I don't think frozen waffles were a huge thing. And then they were in that show and everybody had fucking Eggos because the product placement was effective.
Right.
And it's not because
it came back. Yeah.
Not because your brain was programmed to want an Eggo. It's because you remembered you liked them and got them. Or they made you feel a certain way. Like when I was a kid, I made these on Sunday morning
like
and I want them.
Millennial parents were just like, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. Like remember when no one was looking at us ever and we had to make these?
I know.
Remember when that's all we had to cling to?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
And Super Pretzels, oddly enough. They keep coming back. Anyway, that is very interesting. I also know that there are like some more sinister theories about it, like in the Beatles album where you slow it down and it says Paul is dead. There's stuff that's like backwards in it. People like secret messages are everywhere. But
yeah.
They weren't.
They really weren't.
They really weren't.
They really weren't. And if they were, it was very like, it's like obvious. And yeah, you can see like what was going on.
Sure. Interesting though.
Yeah.
And I guess it all did lead to us getting served an algorithm of a buffet of things that we'll like.
I know one of the biggest thing now is like on the website, those cookies that pop up. That's like a big one. So like when you just are like, I just need to get rid of this. So allow all of them. That's like just immediately they have.
I don't
all
always
of our
now. Sometimes I turn them down. I don't always. I'm a little more
always
careful
like whatever's
with that now.
necessary, but
it kind of depends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, what are you going to know about me that I like looked at recipes or I read this article, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I'm looking up, I don't know, 1 million crazy psychic experiments from the United States government, I don't want as many cookies.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you, Leslie.
You're
that was
welcome.
very interesting. And now I want popcorn and a Coke.
Me too. You're welcome.
I want that 100% of the time.
You've never wanted that a day in your life.
Till now.
See what I've done.
You have. So what happened when all of this is over? Because clearly it like just kind of fizzled, right? Did the Super Soldier Initiative just evaporate?
No.
Did they make any advances? Did all of the true believers just abandon hope and move on? No, of course not.
We're still out here.
Come on, man. They could go be famous or something. So while Project Stargate did claim a fair amount of success, it was often without a whole lot of proof. They were just like, we did it. The end. Their overall success rate was about the same as it would have been if their remote drivers had just guessed or made up inferences based on the clues they were served, which relates back to your subliminal messaging. These are just like, it triggers something in your head. You're not telling them exactly, but you're like, I can get there based on like these little things you're giving me. Same technology.
60% of the time, it works every time.
Yes, it does. That's exactly right. There were outliers, though, of course. One of the project's successes was the location of a lost Soviet spy plane in 1976 by Rosemary Smith, a young administrative assistant recruited by project director Dale Graff. So she did that. She guessed real good. And, there are countless examples of, because of this kind of thing, police looking to psychics to try and solve like murder cases. That's something that I don't know that they do as much now, but I definitely remember it when we were younger.
Yeah.
Like they'd be on like the news or like, I don't know, Maury or something. And it's a police officer like, we talked to a psychic and she's told us to go dig here. And occasionally they would find something because again, inferences can give you whatever. Anyway, some people believe that Uri Geller was able to work miracles, even though it was proven that he was fed more leading information than others and could see into the room with his partner and the scene he was supposed to describe. And then we have the ultimate enigma, a man named Ingo Swann.
Sounds about right.
It does. I know. This guy was like a little intimidating. He's the one who coined the term remote viewing because he was like, we're not clairvoyant, we're remote viewing. And he was apparently correct with his experiments 85 to 95% of the time. And his students were all correct 90 to 95% of the time. But why? At first, they're like, well, he's just psychic. He's just good. But actually, it's because he refined his method and he created a multiple choice situation with the question. So instead of like, describe it, it's like, is it A, B, or C? Oh, okay. So do you think it's cold, warm, or this? He was feeding them much more information. And so they had far more statistical likelihood of getting something correct.
Ugh, I would have been terrible at that. I'm terrible at multiple choice.
I know, me too. But I mean, like, I feel like it's a successional thing. You're like, okay, it's warm, so. And like, I think it's like a leading thing. But he was like kind of intimidating and scary. And so people were like, wow, he's just really good at his job. And his name is terrifying.
It's like Rico Suave.
It definitely is. If you lead someone well enough, they're going to make a good educated guess. So then there's the fact.
That's a nice sentiment, though.
It is. Lead them well. They'll make a good choice.
They'll make good choices.
They'll make the choice you think is good.
Yeah, it's like parenting.
Yeah, kind of. And then there's the fact that the whole experiment was just shoddy science. It was just bad science, which is scary because it was $20 million of the United States government like money and time. It shouldn't be shitty science. It should be checks and balances. It should go well. But
now they know that it was shitty.
Yeah, well, they should have known a year in, and it's crazy that it went on as long as it did. Anyway, the laboratory studies did not provide evidence regarding the origins or nature of this phenomenon. So basically, they're like, so where does it come from? And they were like, oh, it's just here. They never said how one might develop this ability, if it was an acquirable skill, if it was innate in a person, are they born with it? How do they know they have it? It's just kind of there in anyone who says it's there. Okay. But then also you need training. All right. They also could not recreate any of their experiments in a controlled setting. That's a huge red flag. They can't demonstrate their results. Now, in science, if you can't do it again and get the same result, it's not a positive result. Sorry, that was just a blip.
Right.
You have to consistently be able to create that situation, and they definitely couldn't.
Okay.
One impartial reviewer, a psychologist named Ray Hyman, said, and Ray Hyman is the wet blanket on every single one of these experiments. He's like, you guys are terrible. He said, quote, psychologists such as myself, and I told you it would be psychologists, who study subjective validation, which should be the name of our spinoff podcast. This is Selective Validation, our after hours podcast where we give you compliments. Anyway, those who study selective validation find nothing striking or surprising in the reported matching of reports against targets in the Stargate data. The overwhelming amount of data generated by the viewers is vague, general, and way off target. The few apparent hits are just what we would expect if nothing other than reasonable guessing and subjective validation occurred. Subjective validation. Woof. Honestly, the whole thing was kind of a mess. A $20 million mess. So what happened to all of those guys? I can't get over it.
Okay, hold on. I want to break this down a little bit. Was it $20 million a year or for the 20 years?
I think it was
overall. That's what they pumped into
duration, yeah.
Okay. So that
may be also the grant they were given and then they were...
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. So if it's only $1 million a year for 22 people, if they all got the money, those people were only making, like, if it was evenly split, which it wouldn't have been, but that would have been like $45,000 a year for them. But you know that they weren't making all of that money. That was also going towards like the stuff for the labs. And all of those things. So I feel like that was such a small thing that they were like pumping money into.
Maybe.
It was like pocket change for like what the government puts budgets in. Like they probably just had like, we have to spend this money or we don't get it.
My sticking point on it is that it required almost nothing.
They got almost nothing if that's the amount of money.
I don't care. I still, like, you had two people in a room opposite each other reading pictures and it was $20 million. That's bonkers.
For 20 years.
But why did it go on
Holly?
for 20 years? They just let it
Because they
ramble.
probably needed to put that budget money somewhere. And they were like,
I have no idea.
Give that.
I just think it's absurd.
Because if that was $100 million a year, that's not a lot of money for one little project.
I don't know. Put it into school. Put it into healthcare. Put it into anything.
But those budgets don't work like that.
Make them. Don't wait. That's just wasting money. It just drives me crazy.
I know. It's really hard sitting into budget meetings sometimes, like where you're just like, where can we throw this money? We need it here. Well, we can't use it there because we've already used it. So now we have to just bring it over here.
Honestly, they did spend it simply because they knew Russia spent X amount of dollars and they wanted to be trying to keep up with them. They wanted to do the thing that Russia did.
And while Russia spent $60 million, we only did 20 over 20 years.
Yeah. But I also think in the 70s, $1 million was a lot more than it is now.
Well, yeah.
So,
yeah.
It was, there's an adjustment.
But they might not have, so if $20 million, that might not have been.
Why are you defending these lunatics?
I'm just saying, budget-wise,
why do you want them to do this?
Money.
I don't want my taxes to go to that bullshit.
I like sci-fi, Holly. I want this to be real.
I don't like these guys because we're on the like what happened next portion of this, the epilogue part, and some of them turn out to be fucking horrible people.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm not into them, but
yeah, they shouldn't have been given money and power.
The ridiculousness of it.
If it was just Jim, I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah.
If Jim was given $20 million and they were like, make your utopia, Jim. Make sure your battalion is happy and zen and they can go spread wonderfulness to the planet, I'd be like, give him all the money. I love Jim. But he wasn't
getting $20 million right away. He'd be getting it over the course of 20 years.
I still want Jim to get it as opposed to General Burt.
To the point where they were like, we can no longer, nothing's happening. We're not putting any more money into this program.
Yeah, in 1995, they said that.
Yeah.
But they could have still gone. They just decided to stop it. They were like, nothing is happening. Stop
because they were listening
Why did it take 20 years? Why did it take 20
I feel
years?
like they just forgot.
I do too, and that's a problem. You're still pumping millions of dollars into something you forgot
millions
about.
of dollars. Once a year, they were pumping a little bit of their pocket change.
Why are you defending these people?
I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
I'm not defending them, but it makes sense.
Okay. Your money exclusively can fund that kind of nonsense.
I don't want it, but...
No, you don't. You seem like you do.
I'm just saying. It's going there anyway.
Not to that. Jesus Christ. I don't know. These are just crazy people. Anyway,
if you only knew the things your money is funding,
I don't want to at this point because I would be furious. I know some of the things my money is funding right now, and it's just killing people and locking them in buildings.
It sure is.
And I don't fucking like that either. But it's just a few $1 million. Let's give it to them.
It's billions of dollars right now.
Yeah, that's terrible. I don't want that. I'm not going to just be like, that's fine. Who cares? Me, I care.
Yeah.
I don't want that. And I don't want these goat people getting my money either.
That seems like a nicer option.
A warehouse full of goats with no vocal cords? That sounds awful too.
Well, that does sound awful. But a man walking into a wall, I would rather pay that.
Oh, no, not this man. We hate this man. Trust me, we're going to get to this man in a second. Okay. Anyway.
Well, if that's the case, then I would like to pay to see him walk into walls over and over
but you don't get to see him. He does it in an empty building.
Well, I would pay an extra $5 a month.
There you go. If they're showing it on TV, that's different. At least I'm getting something out of it. It's not just a bunch of guys like, we're awesome, high-fiving each other in like a lab far, far away.
I'd like to hear what our patrons think about this.
I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, where am I? Now I'm lost. So what happened to those guys once they left, retired against their will, or just plain ran out of a job because their job just kind of like expired? Well, let's see. None of them come off looking good or credible.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Targ and Harold Puthoff, I hate saying that name, were exposed as frauds for their work with Uri Geller. They're like, you are lying.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Their seemingly successful initial results had garnered interest within the United States Department of Defense. So they were like too flashy. They did like too good of a job. Okay. And people were like, ooh, I want to see. Ray Hyman, wet blanket extraordinaire, professor of psychology at the University of Oregon, was asked by Air Force psychologists and then director of behavioral research for the Advanced Research Projects Agency, which sounds like a fake name. This guy's name is Lieutenant Colonel Austin W. Kibble.
Kibble.
Kibble. So they ask him, they say, go to SRI and investigate this. They're getting crazy results. This looks awesome. This guy is on Johnny Carson. So he was sent there specifically to evaluate Uri Geller because, strangely enough, being on The Tonight Show does not a science expert make. Who thought it? Apparently, flaws were found with the controls in the experiments, and Uri Geller was caught using sleight of hand, just like our friend Nina, on many occasions. And I have to say, Nina's most famous experiment was stopping a frog's heart with her mind.
Right.
So she did that shit too. That's why we're like, we got to one-up it. Time for goats.
Mm-hmm.
So we're petty.
Yeah, but we never proved that she couldn't do it.
I guess not.
She was never proved. To this day, she is still classified as being psychic.
Good for her. I'd rather she get that than these people, honestly.
Yeah,
she won, a girl that was doing stuff.
What do you call that? Like a defamation.
That's right. She won that lawsuit.
Yeah.
And they kept her in a lab and she didn't even really want to be there. So good for you, girl. You could be a superstar psychic. I don't care about that nearly as much as these people. So they catch him using sleight of hand, and I told you guys, he's a magician, obviously. Ray Hyman, wet blanket extraordinaire, reported to the government that, and he stated in no uncertain terms that Uri Geller was, quote, a complete fraud. And as a consequence, Russell Targ and Harold Puthoff lost their government contract to continue working with him. So they fire those guys right away. And they just bring other people in. But don't worry too much about those guys because the government may not have liked them, but the public did. Because they were pretty flashy with their stuff, right? The result of their dismissal was a publicity tour for the three of them, for Uri as well as Russell Targ and Harold Puthoff, to seek private funding for their research work on Uri Geller. So we're going to go on tour and put on a show, and then we're going to take that money and we're going to do more research, which they did for a little while before ultimately breaking up, and Uri Geller just kept being famous. By the mid-1980s, Uri Geller was described as a multimillionaire several times over. He tours, I think to this day, with the live shows. He's been on multiple TV shows. He even collaborated with the king of douchebaggery himself, Chris Angel.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, right? These days, he's still doing his thing and living in Israel, which I'm sure is very uncomplicated. Harold Puthoff tried to do some other science guy jobs for a little while. I could list them, but they're boring. But ultimately, he just had too much whimsy inside of him. And every invention he tried to patent or paper he tried to write was just written off and proven to be pseudoscience because it was. It was a bunch of things he couldn't prove and inventions he couldn't make. So they were like, you got to slow it down. And yet somehow this guy just kept getting jobs. He kept being like, how about we make a time machine? They were like, go away. Next job. Eventually, however, enough was enough, and it was time for him to go full mad scientist. In 2017, he co-founded the UFO-dedicated company To the Stars with Blink-182 frontman Tom DeLonge.
Yeah.
Because where there are aliens, there is Tom DeLonge.
Always.
It's just so weird.
Always.
Why?
He loves that shit.
He was like, I'm going to sing all the small things, and now I can only talk about aliens.
Yes, he was always like this.
So weird.
Always.
I mean, live your life. You're not hurting anybody. But it's so strange. Oh, maybe he is. I don't really know. Maybe the alien community.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Tom, we're trying to be secret.
Leave the space aliens alone, Tom. God. So Harold also participated in The Age of Disclosure, a 2025 documentary film about UFOs, where he claimed that government programs involving recovery of alien technologies had crashed on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
That was last year, so he's still going. His ex-partner, Russell Targ, formed a company called Delphi Associates with other parapsychologists Keith Harry and Anthony White to sell psychic consulting services to individuals and businesses. So they took their company on the road, which a lot of them did. In the book Mind Race, which they co-authored, Russell and Keith claimed that, quote, all 9 silver futures predictions made at Delphi in 1982 were correct. However, a later attempt failed. I don't know what that means, and no one explains it. And I simply don't have the time to find it out. I can only assume it was something crazy and they were wrong. So, there you go. According to Henry Gordon, quote, as with most psychic claims, there is little documentation to back them up. Ray Hyman, wet blanket extraordinaire, has written, quote, Targ and Haray's much publicized case for the validity of remote viewing is filled with exaggerated and unsupported conclusions. Their careless scholarship leads to new deceptions. Burn. Sick burn. Russell Targ did, however, marry chess prodigy Bobby Fischer's sister.
Nice.
Yeah. So people have played him in like 4 seconds of movies about Bobby Fischer. So he's got that going for him.
Cool.
Currently, he is legally blind and an avid motorcyclist.
I'm sorry.
Currently, he is both legally blind and an avid motorcyclist. So you just know an insurance company hates to see him coming.
Wow.
Yeah, he just drives around without being able to see on a motorcycle. He calls himself the blind biker. So I assume we'll be seeing an obituary very soon.
Holy shit.
Yep. He's
That
like
can't
80.
be legal.
No, it's definitely not. It's 100% not legal. You can't be legally blind and hold a driver's license. You just can't. But he's like, I'm going to drive that motorcycle.
Well, it's always defying the odds.
I wouldn't want to be on the road with him. Who's next? I don't know. How about new age military monk and tech shaman Jim?
Tell me about Jim.
I love Jim.
Where's he at?
He died.
Oh, right. That's right.
He died in 2017 in Hawaii at the ripe old age of 78, where he was trying to, quote, create paradise in his earthly manifestation.
I bet he did it.
He did. He made himself a piece of self-sustaining land that he referred to as the, oh my gosh, Rum.
Whoa.
So cute. In 2004, a video interview with Jim said, he said that he was still consulted by top brass, like the chief staff of the army, and he was still officially the commander of the 1st Earth Battalion.
Yes.
Way to go out on top, bud. He has a TED Talk on YouTube if you want to see the commander in action. And I got to say, he seems like the only crazy we talk about this week that was actually just kind of a good time.
Sure.
He was beloved by many. He was a wacky, deep-thinking, kind-hearted artist who lived in a hut he built himself from recycled grocery pallets on his compound in Hawaii. So aloha, Commander, and happy trails.
Nice.
I will make sure that we have links to Jim's websites and stuff, because just seeing him in the face paint and the feathers and the flowers and his Facebook is just people loved him. He was just like a wacky local legend.
Mm-hmm.
He really didn't want to hurt nobody. Okay, so that's the only nice one we get. And I saved, oh no, we're not that last one yet. One more before we get to the big one. After he retired, Joseph McMoneagle, so the guy that loves to talk, ran his own private remote viewing business. So he did the same thing as the rest of them. He's like, you can hire me and I will see things in another room. But he aimed at the corporate world, and he called his company Intuitive Intelligent Applications, Inc. And his services included, quote, that he can help a wildcatter find an oil well or a quarry operator know where to mine. A wildcatter. He hasn't done any of those things, but he says he can. Trust him. He absolutely never shuts up about being psychic, though. Quote, he believes that he has remote viewed into the past, present, and future and has predicted events. According to Paul H. Smith, who was one of his co-workers from the Stargate program, he said that Joseph McMoneagle predicted things that didn't happen until several months into the future.
Wow.
Like a couple months, it's going to be sunny. I did it. Anyway, Joseph McMoneagle also claimed to have predicted the passing of something called the Teenagers' Right to Work Bill. He said there would be a new religion without the emphasis of Christianity. He predicted science of the soul and a vaccine for AIDS. He predicted a movement to eliminate television and a temporary tattoo craze that would replace wearing clothing. And he said all of these things were going to happen between 2002 and 2006. Not so much. McMoneagle also worked with Dean Radin at the Consciousness Research Laboratory at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, to seek patentable ideas via remote viewing for a, quote, future machine that Radin conceived. What's a future machine? Who's to say? Certainly not them. That's all you get. It's a future machine because it's in the future, and it's a machine.
I think that's a very accurate name.
Yeah. Is it in the future? Does it see the future? It's from the future? Who's to say?
I guess we'll find out.
Maybe not. Who knows? McMonagle also said he worked on missing persons cases in Washington, San Francisco, New York, and Chicago. The police don't say that, but he does. As well as employing remote viewing as a time machine to make various observations, such as the origin of the human species. So he was there when humans evolved.
Okay.
He saw it happen. According to McMonagle, humans came from creatures that looked like sea otters and not monkeys. And they were created in a laboratory by creators who seeded the earth and then departed. And I bet Preston Nichols fucking loves this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember, this guy is a decorated United States military scientist and the leading source for public information about Project Stargate. Super. These days, he's mainly making TV appearances, which he does a lot of. He even co-wrote an episode of the psychic science fiction show, The Dead Zone. In the episode, remote viewing was used in the hunt for Osama bin Laden. USA, the network, which aired The Dead Zone, was pretty nervous about doing that. They canceled the episode initially, but then they broadcast it anyway. After a few months later, I don't know how it was received. I don't think very well. And that's Joe. He's still kicking. You can still find him talking to anybody who will listen. And he's done like National Geographic shows and other in the wilderness type shows where they have to generally cut his segments down to like really, really short because it's a lot of.
He just goes on.
He also like can't do the things he's saying he's going to do. And it's just a lot of them like creating sound effects and like making it look like something is happening.
Gotcha.
Which other contestants on these shows have, of course, like spilled about him. But you know what, dude? I guess just don't hurt anybody and live your life. But don't worry. I saved the worst for last. Here's where I get to the part that actually did not surprise me. This kind of like made sense when I started reading about it. After his retirement, General Burt kept up some pretty ridiculous shenanigans. Stubblebine, quote, whose interests included UFOs and parapsychology, was a member of the Oath Keepers. Wait a minute. What are they? I wish you hadn't asked. The Oath Keepers are an American far-right anti-government militia whose leaders have been convicted of violently opposing the United States government, including the transfer of presidential power as prescribed by the United States Constitution. It was incorporated in 2009 by founder Stuart Rhodes, a lawyer and former paratrooper. In 2023, Rhodes was sentenced to 18 years for seditious conspiracy in the January 6th United States Capitol attack, and another leader, Kelly Meggs, was sentenced to 12 years for the same crime. 3 other members have pleaded guilty to this crime, and 4 other members have been convicted of it. By September 2021, 20 members had been indicted for federal crimes related to the Capitol attack. Neat! Crazy person in charge plus clever grifter subordinates always equals big trouble. Bert and his second wife, Rima Leibau, and holy Hannah, we will get back to her, were also active in the Patriot Movement, another right-wing extremist group, and appeared together as guests on the Alex Jones Show. Stubblebine and Leibau established a nonprofit organization called Natural Solutions Foundation, which disseminated conspiracy theories about vaccinations, pharmaceutical companies, and genetically modified foods. He also believes that September 11th was an inside job, because of course he does, and that the H1N1 swine flu was, quote, a genetically engineered virus that is part of the World Health Organization, United Nations, United States scheme to, wait, sterilize untold numbers of people. What? Well, thank God we're out of the World Health Organization now, right, General?
Jeez.
Gee, I wonder why that happened, because his theories were pretty popular.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's not like there's a lot of these guys running rampant in the American government right now. Oh, no. It's exactly like that. So remember, the people telling you to stay away from doctors and vaccines fundamentally agree with a guy who believed he could walk through walls. Fuck me.
Yep.
So this guy also has like a real fun, spotty personal history, and all the court documents are online. Like, I'm not making any of this up, or none of it is subjective. It is all, I read this in like official court documents. A lot of them are from New Jersey. He was married first to a woman named Geraldine, and they adopted 2 children together and then got divorced. After they got divorced, he did not give Geraldine or the children a penny until Geraldine came down with several types of cancer and had to sue him for spousal support, which he tried to get out of paying by lying to the United States court and saying that he didn't have a job. But spoiler alert, he was still working for the fucking government, and that's really easy to find out.
So stupid.
Yep. And just to not pay his ex-wife, who has his 2 adopted children, $1,000 a month.
Right.
Geraldine won, obviously, and easily. And General Burt ran away and remarried someone he said was his colleague, alt-right radical lady, Dr. Rima Labo. Albert Stubblebine passed away in 2017 in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and we do not claim him. Literally, we refuse to claim him. This is a great fucking story. The manner of General Burt's death is peppered with a rather significant dose of irony. His wife, Rima, a woman who thinks that RFK is a softie who has not done enough to break apart the U.S. healthcare system. She thinks that we should be doing much more of this, and has spent most of her free time in the past 10 years preaching that the United States had to extricate itself from the World Health Organization in order to, quote, prevent a genocide, which she says is what happens when we don't have health freedom, because if we don't have the freedom of our health, doctors murder us all. And sterilize everyone, and then they go home at the end of the day. She's published books and papers about this.
Right. Yeah.
Of course. And she's a doctor. I guess she's happy now because we did that. She's very anti-vax, anti-many medical interventions. She is a QAnon theorist, a Holocaust denier, and a seller of snake oil. No, really. A New Jersey district court had to order her to stop selling nano silver products with no directions on the bottles as a COVID treatment. And I remember that happening.
I remember that too.
Because it was in our great state.
Yep.
You can still find her on Facebook if you want, saying only the wildest of things. She claims that General Burt was actually poisoned in the hospital. He was like injected with a mystery substance by a rogue doctor in the middle of the night. And then they denied testing him for anything. And then they just left him to die in a room. And that's what she said on YouTube. But I read her court documents, and that's not what she said in court. She didn't say anybody poisoned him or that there was conspiracies or anything like that. She said he was neglected and that he required more medical care. You know, the stuff she doesn't want public to have, but she did want her husband to have it when he was in the hospital, because of course she did, right? Now I'm just going to go and summarize this. These documents in full, I will put in our show notes because you can read every single word of it. According to New Jersey hospitals, after returning from a trip to Chile, General Burt was admitted to, the first hospital. It doesn't really matter. He was admitted to the hospital and diagnosed with, I think it was JFK, I don't know, and diagnosed with septic pneumonia. So he had pneumonia for long enough that he was septic. Okay, so that's already, you had a condition that you did not treat. And now you're in the hospital. So they had to put him on, artificial respiration and tons of antibiotics that were intravenous. And he was in the hospital for like a month. And then they transferred him to a rehabilitation center without asking his wife if they could do that, which sounds like maybe they violated some kind of rights. And that's part of the lawsuit she launched against all the hospitals, all of them. But here's the thing, like I know how this works because I've watched my mother go through the system. If you are still, like, she wasn't on a ventilator, but she couldn't, like, she needed a lot of assistance. But if you're on a ventilator and you're hooked up to like constant IVs, you can't just go home.
Right.
And if you're in the hospital on constant care for more than a month, like, they're going to boot you. Your insurance company is going to boot you. They're going to say, you got to go somewhere else. We're not paying for this anymore, which is what I'm guessing happened. Then they just go, okay, well, the only place we can send him is here. So we got to kick him out. Insurance isn't paying. There you go. Wifey was really pissed. So then he's in this rehab center where he ends up getting a bunch of like bacterial infections. He gets C. diff and Pseudomonas and MRSA, which is a nightmare. But I mean, like he is an elderly man. He's 80, over 80. He had dangerous pneumonia and has like no immune system at this point.
Right.
Like, what do you expect? Anything that comes near him, he's going to catch. So they realize he's really sick at this rehab place. They send him to Robert Wood Johnson Hospital in New Brunswick, a hospital I am very familiar with. And within a couple days, he dies. Now, this to me sounds like every medical intervention in the world was given to this man.
Mm-hmm.
But she said it wasn't enough, that they neglected him. They should have done more tests. They should have turned him every hour so he didn't get... Yeah, right. So he didn't get bed sores, which I would love to know how you do that when you're on a ventilator. You can't roll over on your stomach or side or anything like that. You have to breathe.
Right.
I feel like that's the kind of thing where like they can move you a little and stuff, but like I don't think they're rolling you around when you're having artificial respiration.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I feel like there has to be something.
I think there is some things, but like I think also like some kind of like issues like that is inevitable when you're just being kept alive. She also said that they didn't give him enough like tube-fed nutrition. They didn't feed him the right nutrition. They didn't give him the food that she wanted them to puree and put in the tube. They didn't work out his muscles every hour. They were like constantly PTing him. I'm like, how much staff do you fucking think these people have?
What was she doing?
Nothing.
Why wasn't she doing any of it?
Nothing. She was just being really mad about it. And then so she tried to sue all three hospitals for $75,000 in New Jersey. I love my country, New Jersey. Said, you know what, ma'am? First of all, your claims don't look really solid.
Yeah.
And second of all, you guys are residents of Arizona, and your other residence is in South America. You're not New Jersey's problem. Dismissed. And they just let her go.
Nice.
I know, I was kind of like, okay, New Jersey. And that ends the story of General Burt.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty weird. And Rima, like I said, she's still out there talking a lot. She's written a lot of books. One book is about speaking to her dead husband from beyond the grave. It's called The General Speaks, Intimate Conversations with the Dead.
I'm good.
I know, same. I don't want to talk to him. Thanks very much. And there's this whole paragraph about, like, she writes about, to all appearances, Major General Albert N. Stubblebine III died in intensive care unit of Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital on his 87th birthday. 87
Wow.
with septic pneumonia. Yes, I'm so sorry. You're probably going to die.
Yeah.
My name is Rima E. Leibau, MD. General Burt and I were together for nearly 26 years. Also, I don't think she's an MD. And married for 23 of them. There is no doubt about it. General Burt's body irrefutably died and was subsequently irrefutably destroyed through cremation. These are choices she made, so I don't know why it's destroyed. General Burt's consciousness and energy, however, did not die. The General Speaks includes powerful new ways of looking at nature, the nature of reality, and the realities we experience with General Burt's characteristic wit, wisdom, foresight, and passion, because the nature of probability, though the temptation to ascribe to perfect foresight and infallibility to General Burt is a mistake. So, like, don't think he's perfect. He's not a god, okay? He frequently reminds me, I'm not omnipotent. I'm just slightly dead.
That's all.
That's what he says to her. His batting average for seeing where we are going, however, is pretty remarkable. This book has 4.5 stars, by the way. She also wrote The Definitive Autism Action Plan, Healing Your Autistic Child, a guide for families, educators, and health professionals for healing autistic people. This book claims that autism is both preventable and curable, although the official dogma is that it's neither. Don't believe that. She also wrote A Cancer Answer, Holistic Breast Cancer Management, a guide to effective and non-toxic treatments. Yeah. Essentially, in case I'm not making it clear, there is a psychic hoopla to alt-right pipeline. It does exist. It also exists with certain people who are a level of crunchy that feeds into the same things that she is saying. However, it's usually the people that think they can make themselves invincible with these things.
Right.
They're not trying to help anybody else, really. They just feel like they know more than anyone else and they're doing the morally superior thing. It's usually that kind of person that's in it for that. That's when you can get set down the wrong road, in my opinion. So it's not your friendly neighborhood tarot card reader. So don't, that's not happening with them. It's a very specific kind of angry situation. And now, a little bonus before we go. We discussed all the psychic Stranger Things, right? But if we go back to the show, they weren't talking about psychic adults, right? They were trying to make psychic kids. And that's what Preston Nichols talks about in the Montauk experiment too. And that is where the gifted and talented education program comes in. Better known to most as a keyword from a Stranger Things series as GATE. Now, this is completely and totally unfounded. Everything we're about to say is just speculation. I've only seen it on TikTok and Reddit. So we're just going to talk about it.
Cool.
In case you don't know what like gifted and talented is in school, it's like an extra class for kids who are like academically advanced. Sometimes it's enrichment. Sometimes it's they skip a grade. Sometimes it's just like that extra class where you learn. They're just like more stimulated in their class because they get bored and finish stuff. I am a former gifted kid. Lots of us are. My daughter's a gifted kid. Yeah, you get an extra class. You do things like I did Mission to Mars where you had to make like a big plastic bubble and build like your little thing. Cool. And Violet's done Odyssey of the Mind. Like you just do extra brainy things like that. But when it first started, GATE also incorporated like meditation. They felt that was something that could like center kids and help ground them. And they did use Zener cards on some GATE programs. Now, Zener cards are like memory match for psychics. So it's like there's shapes and stuff on them and you're like, can you tell me what this card is? Now, it's the same thing as we're talking about with guessing. It's like 5 shapes. You have that much % chance of getting it right. You might not. That didn't last long. It was only with a few GATE programs. But the conspiracy theories are wild. So I'm going to go into the Reddit for you guys. I recently came across, this is the quote, some people on the internet, especially on Reddit and TikTok, claiming they have elementary school memories, and these people all have the same memory of GATE, gifted and talented programs that involved several exercises. The most commonly mentioned was wearing clanky 90s headphones and listening to audio clips, supposedly brainwashing them to be susceptible to out-of-body experiences and lucid dreaming. Different people are claiming to remember similar things, such as exercise matching shapes together, those are Zener cards, or reading a book upside down. One thing they all have in common is their tendency to forget most or all of what happened to the program until later in their adult lives. Certain accounts that even recall them consuming some kind of pink medicine, which was said to be a drug for the memory loss. Most people mainly just remember resenting going to the program or begging their parents to let them pull out of it. Proponents of this strange story are convinced it was some kind of CIA experiment run by the late 80s and early 2000s to make psychic kids. Has anyone else here shared similar experiences or encountered similar stories? There are a million people that say these things. One theory, this is my favorite theory, is that gifted kids are neurodivergent kids that they just need to stimulate
right
in an extra class. And I'm like, well, that could be true.
Yeah.
Because all of us have ADHD now.
Yeah,
like 100% of us do. And people are like, the pink medicine was Ritalin. They were giving us Ritalin. The school's not giving you Ritalin. And if they were, you'd remember it better.
Yep.
Come on, man. You know why you can't remember it? Because you all have fucking ADHD and we can't remember things. We're distracted. You want to know what those headphones were with the high-pitched tunes? Do you remember having a hearing test in school?
Right.
I did when I was little. My hearing screening was in school. There was like that little cardboard cubicle.
Yep.
And you put on the big headphones, kind of like we have on now. And you hear like,
we just
in one ear.
in a line.
And you had to raise your hand when you heard it in one.
Yeah.
That's the fuck what that was.
I loved when we got our we'd have to go to the nurse.
Mm-hmm.
Got
you were out of class. Yeah, exactly.
I loved it.
It wasn't unpleasant. You just had headphones on. You're just like hanging out for a little while.
Remember we all had to get lice checks?
Yes. What you don't know is that you were getting them because someone had lice.
Yeah. Oh, and scoliosis checks.
Yeah.
We had to get those too.
Yeah.
I'm still really confused as to how nobody, Like you were getting checked for scoliosis and nobody was.
I don't have it in my spine. I have functional scoliosis.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
My daughter has lots of scoliosis,
yes,
but her school did catch it.
Yes,
so
that's fair.
it does work.
Well, it's better now.
Because we got the school nurse being like, she probably has scoliosis. We're like, oh, yeah, I guess so. So anyway, there are people that have these like common memories and they think it was like they were trying to brainwash them into being psychic in the gifted and talented program. Now, there are a ton of people that also have this memory of taking pink medication.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of people, it's chewable tablets. And some people say there were fluoride tablets. Apparently, we didn't have fluoridated water, and there was a time where for your dental health, kids were given fluoride tablets, I guess. But far more likely is, do you remember, I don't know if this happened in your school, but it did happen in mine, and I am the target age range for this. There was like a dentist that would do a presentation on oral hygiene, right? They'd come to your school and be like, brush your teeth. This is how the dentist works. Sometimes you'd have a field trip there and you'd get a little baggie. It would be like floss and a toothbrush and those little pink tablets that if you chew it up, you can see the plaque on your teeth.
I don't know. I don't necessarily remember this. And I can't do teeth stuff. So I feel like that would have traumatized me.
Okay, well, yeah, it didn't happen everywhere.
I would have been like, I don't want to see that.
I know. I don't think everyone had to do that in school.
Yeah.
Like I remember getting them. And I remember like some kids chewed. I didn't want to because I figured they would
because then it would just show them where you could brush.
It shows you how to you brush it off your teeth. It basically dyes the plaque on your teeth a pink color and then you brush it off.
Yeah.
And it's just like a demonstration. But a lot of kids are like, yeah, we got that in like a teeth brushing demonstration. Everyone got them.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I definitely remember being given the goodie bag that had them in it. I remember the demonstration. I remember the people talking about it. I don't think like we necessarily did it in class because you kind of have to spit it out too.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, if your classroom had a sink and that's what you were doing, I could see it. But like, we didn't. I mean, of course, there are kids that like instantaneously put it in their mouth anyway because they can't not.
Could have also been like Pepto-Bismol.
They're just like, y'all look like you have acid reflux.
Yeah.
Sit down, meditate, and take this Pepto-Bismol. Yeah. There are I can't back, I mean, it doesn't exist. The science that says everybody was given pink pills. I was never given pink pills in my G&T class. I remember the plaque tablets that some people were like, I think it was this, but it wasn't specifically in G&T. And it definitely wasn't liquid. Some people say they drank pink liquid.
Right, which is just the antibiotic.
Yeah, and they just all had. You guys were quarantined, and they told you it was G&T.
I'm thinking something just happened.
You all had like some kind of infection, maybe some lice too. They just left you in there. Did your hearing test? It's because you all took the hearing test. You all got lice.
Probably. And their parents just sent their medication to school because they were all neurodivergent and too much to handle, and so they just were like, "Please."
In 1987, none of us were getting medication. That's the other thing. I'm like, if you were given a room full of kids with ADHD and you medicated all of them, do you not think the parents would be like, you're a miracle worker?
Right.
It would be like amazing. Every kid would be like, why am I good now?
Yeah.
Why do people live like this? Because if you have ADHD and you spend your whole life without it and then you take medication that first time, you cannot believe what life looks like.
You're like, wow.
Yeah, it's shocking.
Yeah.
So I think kids, first of all, would remember things much more clearly.
Sure.
They wouldn't remember less if it was Adderall or I guess Ritalin back then.
Right.
And they're like, wouldn't they be bouncing off the walls? No, because if you need it, it calms you down.
I don't know, Holly.
I don't know. I just thought this was a rather ridiculous conspiracy theory, but it does kind of link into like the Stranger Things where it's like kids and they're like trying to make them meditate and be psychic and all this stuff.
Sure.
And it does feed into like directly into the Montauk experiment things. Like Gate is like the next step, but there's just I can't confirm or deny it from anything. There's no science on it. There's no government files that have been declassified. It's just Gate's just extra class.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you have had this experience or you've read about this experience or you want to talk about this experience, let us know. I mean, I've listened to a million of these TikToks and I'm always like, maybe I did get brainwashed in G&T. I was just talking about the Mayan ruins.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Or like maybe you just weren't an extra special kid
Maybe
for
not.
them to like do that extra testing on. You know, like they have those programs, and then like a government agent will come in and like take one of those kids for like the CIA. Like you don't.
What
it's
did
not like
your
people
school do?
No, what I'm saying is like I wouldn't know because that didn't happen to me, but it happens.
These people do claim, though, that the whole class did it. It's not one kid being removed. It's everybody getting their little cup of pink stuff and everybody taking turns laying on the floor in a dark room.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're teaching kids to, like, meditate to calm their nervous systems, I really don't think that's super suspicious. The Zener cards are weird. It is a little weird.
I think it was Pepto-Bismol.
Maybe.
It was probably after lunch, and they were like, let's calm down. Let's get our stomachs in line.
They all get in a tizzy afterwards. Yeah. I also think that the power of suggestion is very strong.
Yeah.
So I think that is, because I'll tell you, as soon as one person said it, I was like, well, I was in G&T in 1991, and I was definitely in the class, and everybody's talking about, like, remember when we did, you know, the Mayan ruins thing? And I was like, I did the Mayan ruins. I did Voyage of Demimi. I did all of these things. Maybe I was given pink stuff. I have no memories of that. I'm just like, are they there?
Right.
I think lots of people just went, I must have forgotten because I took the pink forget juice.
Yeah.
I don't know. But maybe not.
Well, I don't remember, so I must have taken it.
You must have went to G&T and took the pink juice.
Yeah.
I kind of feel a little left out that I didn't get it.
I don't know, Holly.
If I could have had secret Ritalin in 6th grade, that would have been incredible. Are you kidding? Oh, well. Anyway, that's all of our wild government things for today.
Okay.
I know. So toast.
Toast to Jim.
Jesus Christ. To Jim. 100% good one, Leslie.
Jim got a good one.
I know that's because Jim's energy just like came through.
Just came right through.
I felt that like warm Hawaiian sun.
Yep.
And good vibes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Good job.
Good job, Jim. Who else?
Nobody else was great in this one, really.
Yeah, I guess not. We do have a patron.
Oh, let's toast to them.
Okay, to Cat. Hold on. Meow. To my cat.
Oh.
No, to Cat Cox. Thank you for becoming a best fiend.
Thanks, Cat.
Yes.
We love you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Meow,
Welcome.
meow, meow, meow.
Meow. Welcome to the family. Okay. I think that's everything.
Is that everyone? Tom DeLong?
He really did recognize all the small things. So. Oh, boy. And if we thought we could dismantle bombs and goats with our minds,
we would be millionaires.
We would. We were good liars.
Yeah.
We could just sit there and make money.
For real.
Oh, we have too much conscience
I know.
issues. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the We Would Be Dead podcast. Hit subscribe now to never miss an episode. Rate and review our show on iTunes. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Would Be Dead Pod. And join our Facebook group to discuss the podcast and more.
I sure do love knowing where my parents' tax dollars went.